All right, guys, I'm here to help you with worksheet 93 and 94. Starting on this side, we're just going to look at, these are the terms that we talked about in class today about how to decide whether you need to divide, multiply, subtract, or add. And there's a lot of phrases that we came across, right? So on this first one, it says 9 less than a number. I like to think of these, like when you see the less than, the little less than part. I see it here. I also see it here. I call those Yoda terms because you kind of have to write them backwards. I know Ms. Gonzalez talked about how, like in Spanish or La Casa Rosa, like we would say the pink house. Like in English, we say the pink house, but in Spanish, we would say the house pink, La Casa Rosa. So this is the same idea, and I get it from like Master Yoda over here, who says, like, he always talks backwards, right? The greatest teacher failure is, Yoda is. He's like saying the greatest, or failure is the greatest teacher, but he said the greatest teacher failure is, which is more powerful when you hear Yoda say it, because he is like, you know, most powerful Jedi ever. And the new Star Wars is coming out pretty soon, so I wanted to bring that up. So if we're talking like Yoda, 9 less than a number, we're going to say the number first. We don't know what the number is, so I'm going to use a variable like we talked about in class. And then less than means minus. And then we're going to say 9. So n minus 9. And this would work if, like, let's say I had 9 here, or let me make this a different number. You can always like substitute pretend. I'm pretending I know what the number is. Let's say it's 10. So I say 9 less than 10 would be 1, right? So if I did 10 minus 9, it'd be 1. And it's kind of an easier way for you to figure out what it's asking you to do. All right. Number 2, 5 times the number of books in the library. So we know we're going to multiply here because we have our keyword, which is times, right? And then we don't know what we're talking about. So our variable, let's say you call it X, or we could say B for books, right? Because we don't know the number of books that are in the library, but this is all going to be represented by B. And then 5 times B. So it's just going to be 5b. And you can either, like we talked about in class, you could do 5 times b, or I like when we're messing with variables just b, because sometimes you might have more than one variable, so it would kind of, if you put the times symbol, like the x, it would throw you off and you think maybe there's 2 variables when you're actually trying to multiply. So just 5b, 5 times the number of books. The number of books is b. All right, 3 more pancakes than his brother ate. So do we know how many pancakes his brother ate? We don't, right? So let's put, I'm gonna say B again for his brother. Or actually we're looking for the number of pancakes, sorry. Let's see here. So 3 more would be, like what would we say, like pancakes plus 3, right? This is another Yoda term we're looking at because we're adding to it. More than, less than. We're adding to it, so it would be P plus 3. What's cool about addition is it doesn't necessarily matter what order you put them in, because either way you're going to get the same answer, right? P plus 3 and 3 plus P are the same. All right, so we got a couple more here. 2 more than 7 times Lynn's age. I'm just going to let you guys finish this off. There was only, how many questions are here? There's 8 questions on this side. Let me see if I can try to help you with one of the word problems before I keep going. But I would circle or highlight your, your key terms, and then look at the notes we took in class to see, what's that fall under? Is it addition? Is it multiplying? Like over here, there's a couple, right? We have more than and times. On this one, we have 9 minutes less than Francis's time. So look at those keywords when you're looking over these questions. Number 6 says the distance around a basketball or circumference is about 3 times the circumference of a softball. Define a variable and write an expression to represent the circumference of a basketball. So here's my basketball. Yeah, you guys didn't know I had drawing skills like this, did you? Oh wait, that's not a basketball. Oh yeah, it is. Is there one right here too? There you go. My basketball. And we kind of have to figure out what our keywords here are. So So our basket is about 3 times. So 3 times the circumference of a softball, right? Define a variable and write an expression. So we're gonna say our variable, since it's 3 times the circumference of a softball, I'm gonna say S, which is the circumference, or you can put C, circumference of a softball. And it told us that it is just 3 times that, right? So 3 times S is gonna be our circumference of a basketball. So that's it, right? It sounds all complicated and then it comes down and it's not that bad. All right, so this is 8. I'm skipping 7, letting you guys try it on your own. And again, just try your best, just like Yoda told us in that Yoda quote I gave you guys. Failure is our best teacher, right? So if you make a mistake, don't worry about it. That's how you learn. That's how we figure out what we did wrong, and hopefully we'll learn from that. So number 8, camping. A camp leader figures that she needs 1 tent for every 3 campers, plus a tent for herself. Define a variable and write an expression to represent the number of tents. So when it says define a variable, it means we have to say what the variable is going to stand for. So first, a camp leader figures that she needs 1 tent, all right, for every 3 campers. So that's important, right? She needs 1 tent for every 3 campers, plus a tent for herself. So there's 2 parts to this equation. So since our campers, that number is always going to change, and our tents are dependent on the campers, we're going to define our campers. Our campers, or C stands for campers. So if we have however many campers, right? It's going to be whatever it is, our campers. And how do I go from 3 to 1? What am I doing there? Well, I am dividing, aren't I? Like some of us want to think that we need to multiply here. She needs 1 tent for every 3 campers. But really, if you think about it, if I have 3 campers, I need 1 tent. So I'm dividing, right? I'm dividing it by 3. So I need my campers divided by 3. And then at the end of it, I need to add the plus a tent for herself. That means I need to add 1 tent. And this is going to be my equation to figure out how many tents I need. Let's try it out. Let's put a random number in for C. So instead of C, let's say, I'm going to make it easy and a multiple of 3. So it's easy to divide by. So let's say 12. So if I have 12 campers and I divide it, I'm putting that in my equation now. Divided by 3 plus 1. I would have 4 plus 1, right? Equals, I need 5 tenths. That's kind of how you solve it. Like if you fill in the numbers and like, okay, that makes sense. And that does make sense, right? That means for every, so if I have 12 campers, I'm going to need 4 tenths, or 4 times 3 equals 12. And then I need to add that one extra tent for herself, the camp leader. All right, I know it's kind of confusing and it's rough. It's just, you need to highlight the words that are important and then try to map it out. And I like using imaginary numbers in here to just work it out and see if it makes sense. Let me do a couple from the other side of the homework. All right, so on this question here, and I'm actually going to get rid of this part. It says, write an expression to show how many more medals the USA won than Germany. Well, let's see here. It tells us that USA won M and Germany, where's Germany right here? Is 41, right? So if I want to know how many more USA won, how many more? I wish it was on one liner here. How many more? That means I need to actually, I know some of us want to say we're going to add. And that would give us the total. Like if I was to add Germany plus USA's medals, sorry, it wouldn't really give me how many more USA has, right? It would give me a total of USA and Germany. And that's not what it's asking us for. So what we actually need to do is we take Germany's medals, which is 41, and we're going to subtract the US medals. And the difference between that is going to give me how many medals USA won, which tells us M. So 41 minus M. I'm sorry, since USA won more, I need to flip it. USA won more, that means the bigger number's got to go in the front, right? So USA won more, so I need to do USA, which is M, minus 41. And that's going to give us the answer to how many they have. I know it's tricky. I'm just throwing us off a little bit here. The next one says, write an expression to show how many fewer medals Australia won than Great Britain. So let me see here. So fewer medals than Great Britain. That means, let's see, Australia is A, Great Britain is 47, right? So if Australia won fewer medals, that means they're going to be my second number because they're a smaller number, right? So it's going to be minus A. And our Great Britain is 47. So if I do 47 minus A, 47 minus Australia's numbers, it's going to give me the numbers of how many fewer medals Australia has than Great Britain. All right, it's going to do maybe one more for you guys. And hopefully, I'll do number 6 because that's the last one. It doesn't have to do with the Summer Olympics anymore. One sec. All right, the last one says there are about 1.6 kilometers in every mile. Write an expression to represent the approximate numbers of kilometers in miles. Then use the expression to find the approximate number of kilometers in 5 miles. So this one, I don't have to define a variable because it already tells me that m equals miles, right? So I know m is going to be my equation somewhere. It says for every 1.6 miles, 1.6 kilometers, we get 1 mile, right? So it's 1.6 times m. It's going to give us, right, 1.6 times m times 1 mile. This equals 1 mile. So we're going to use this expression here to solve the next question, which is, see here, because it tells us instead of m, I'm going to put 5 miles in there. So 1.6 times 5, right? And then I'm going to get an answer here. And when you guys solve that, you'll have an answer for how many kilometers are in 5 miles. Good luck with that one. I'm going to let you work that last problem or part out. I did help you with the expression. Now it's time for you to figure out what it equals. All right, guys, I know this is tricky stuff. There's a lot of words in here. And I'm sorry, I probably should have highlighted this for every mile, right? And there you go. 1.6 times 5, you should have your answer.